Greetings, my dear viewers. It is I, Drayhon, and welcome back to Dungeons & Dragons Character Concept Deep Dive, where we take a look at a very particular concept and see if we can build a good character based on that concept. For example, one of my first builds was a parkour master. That utilized any mechanics that would be necessary for doing quote-unquote parkour. Same went for the Master Archer build, doing as much damage as possible with a ranged weapon. Today we are doing the Untouchable Sentinel. I got this idea from one of the mechanics that we're going to be using for today's video, but this also has a little bit of inspiration from Luke Hart's videos, the DM layer, covering some stories that he has had with a very particular paladin at his tables. Now, we're not using paladins in this build, but it has roughly the same concept of what that player had for Luke's games. So if you are not familiar with what goes on over at Luke's table, he usually talks about this paladin who has plate armor, has a shield, and has a cloak of displacement, to where it is near impossible to hit him with a melee attack. Which is hilarious, and I thought I would take a look at that untouchableness in today's build. But we're mostly going for sort of a sentinel, someone who just stands guard and lets nobody pass them. And the untouchable part is, well, yes, a high armor class, but a few other things as well, and we'll get into that in this build. Starting things off, we are using the point buy system, which I forgot to put into this slide. Strength is going to be a 12, Dexterity is our highest stat out of 15, Constitution, our second highest stat, is a 14, Intelligence and Charisma are both a 10, which is our lowest stats, and 11 for our Wisdom. So, let's go ahead and start off with a mock battle. We have the white square being our player character, and the 4 red squares being our enemies. With a normal attack, you are able to hit an enemy within 5 feet of you, so 1 square in front of you at a max. If you were to use a glaive, halberd, pike, whatever, it has a property known as reach. This allows you to reach out an extra 5 feet in front of you, so a maximum of 10 feet in any given direction. And that is what we are using for this build today, is things that allow us to strike further. That's how we get an untouchableness. And some of you probably already know where this is going, and that is going to be correct. We are using that mechanic as well. For the next step, we need our race. Bugbear is the one we're going to be picking. Go ahead and increase strength by 2 and dexterity by 1, rounding both of them out to a nice even number. 14 for strength, 16 for dexterity. The important thing here is the Bugbear's ability known as Long-Limbed, which increases our reach for melee attacks by an extra 5 feet. We also get a skill proficiency Stealth, and we also get the Surprise Attack feature, which does increase our damage output by a little bit extra. So going back to our mock battle, we have our, we'll say a halberd for this battle, and our Bugbear race. That gives us an increase on our reach to a total of 15 feet for a maximum reach of our melee attacks. So far, so good. Moving on to our background, we're going to go ahead and pick the Quandrix Student. This will give us access to the cantrip Mage Hand and Guidance for our Strixhaven Initiate, as well as a first level wizard spell. We're going to grab Shield. Shield is a spell that we can use as a reaction, allowing us to add 5 points to our armor class whenever an attack is made against us, or if Magic Missile is targeting us. This will cause Magic Missile to automatically fail, and give us our bonus to our armor class. We get skill proficiencies in Arcana and Nature, Woodcarver's Tools as well as having a language of our choice. Which, that part isn't too important, I just thought Woodcarver's Tools was the best fitting, in case we wanted to remake our halberd shaft anytime it would break. Because something tells me that the Dungeon Master is going to try their hardest to destroy our halberd. Moving on, we're going to Fighter. We get a 1d10 hit die, starting hit points at 12, thanks to our Constitution modifier, and we get proficiencies in all armor and shields, simple and martial weapons, strength and Constitution saving throws, and skills, acrobatics, and athletics. We get the second wind feature and the fighting style feature. We're going to grab perhaps one of my favorite fighting styles ever to be released from Unearthed Arcana, the Tunnel Fighter. Now, this is an older Unearthed Arcana. I don't exactly remember which Unearthed Arcana this was released in, but it is old as far as 5th edition goes. It has not been released as official material yet, and honestly, I don't think it ever will because of how powerful it is when paired up with a few other mechanics that we're going to be using today. The Tunnel Fighter goes as follows. As a bonus action, you can enter a defensive stance that lasts until the start of your next turn. While in your defensive stance, you can make opportunity attacks without using your reaction. That is amazing. But it does go further, and this last little bit is not that important because we're going to be overriding that with another mechanic later. You can use your reaction to make a melee attack against a creature that moves more than 5 feet while within your reach. It's pretty good, but it's not that great. The most important part is that free opportunity attack. So, say an opponent's trying to move away from us like it's supposed to with opportunity attacks. If 4 enemies are trying to flee from our reach, which is currently 15 feet, we're able to attack each and every one of them for free. Just one attack, though. That is amazing. We can technically kill anyone that is trying to flee from us. Currently trying to flee from us. We're going to improve the opportunity attacks. And that's how we become the Untouchable Sentinel. Moving on. Level 2, we get Action Surge for our fighter. We get to, once per long rest, take a second action. So we get to attack more, basically. Which is going to be fun once we are finished here. Level 3, we are going to grab the martial archetype known as Battle Master. We get Combat Superiority, giving us the maneuvers Lunging Attack, Pushing Attack, and Riposte. Lunging Attack increases our reach by 5. On our turn only. Pushing Attack, if we were to hit a creature with a melee attack, we can force them to make a saving throw, which is 8 plus your proficiency plus your dexterity. If they fail that save, they are pushed away from you up to 15 feet. And with Riposte, if a creature were to miss an attack against you, you can use your reaction to attack them. Also, you get a tool proficiency in Smith's Tools. So, pretty good. So, back to our mock battle. We get our normal 15-foot reach thanks to Bugbear and Polearm. But with lunging attack, we are able to increase, on our turn, another 5-foot reach. Nice. Moving over to level 4 Fighter, we're going to go ahead and increase our Wisdom by 2 points, making it a 13, which is our minimum requirement to multi-class into Monk. Now, with Monk, we get a D8 hit die and some extra hit points equal to 1d8 plus our Con modifier per Monk level, yada yada. We get Unarmored Defense feature. While we are not wearing armor, our armor class is equal to 10 plus our Dexterity plus our Wisdom. Currently a 15. Not as good as having Plate Mail and a Shield. Well, currently just Plate Mail, since we have to have both hands on our halberd. But I do recommend having the magic item known as the Animated Shield, so that you can still have both of your hands on your halberd. We also get Martial Arts, which we do not benefit from when we are wearing armor. Nor do we get to benefit from the halberd since it has the heavy weapon property, unfortunately. But the monk is going to be very important for this build, and we will get more into that as we level up. Second level, we get Key from our monk, giving us a Key save DC of 8 plus proficiency bonus plus wisdom modifier. We also get unarmored movement. If we are not wearing armor, our speed increases by a certain amount equal to what it says on the monk table. Currently a 10, but it goes up to 15 later on. We also get dedicated weapon. However, our halberd does not count as a dedicated weapon because it has the heavy property, which is very unfortunate. I wish they would have a reach weapon that would work as a halberd or polearm, whatever, but lack that heavy property. That's the only thing that really hurts this build, is that we're losing a bunch of key features from the monk. But that is not that important because we are still getting some more levels here. Level 3, we get a monastic tradition. There are 2 different ones that I want you to consider for this build. The first one is going to be Way of the Living Weapon. We get the features Fists of Bone and Steel, Mutable Strike, and Martial Discipline. Grab Traveler's Blade. This will increase our reach by 5 feet automatically. Additionally, we can spend up to 4 key points to increase our reach for the turn by an additional 5 feet for each key point spent. Secondly, we also have Deflect Missiles. If someone were to shoot an arrow at us and indeed, quote-unquote, hit us, we can reduce the damage of that attack by 1d10 plus our Dexterity modifier plus our monk level. And if that damage is reduced to 0 in this way, we catch the projectile and have the ability to throw it back at the sender, which is hilarious, and one of the reasons why I wanted monk as this multi-class. Back over to the mock battle. Once again, we have our bugbear and our halberd with the addition of our Traveler's Blade, increasing our reach to 20 feet. If we spend 1 key point, we get an additional 5-foot reach for the turn. 2 key points, another 5-foot reach. 3 key points, another 5 foot. 4 points, we get a total of 40-foot reach. So those red squares can get hit for this turn. Additionally, with the lunging attack feature, we get another 5 foot. 45-foot reach. And thanks to our extra attack feature at 5th level, which is coming up, we'll be able to hit 2 targets with each attack. So, with the action surge, we hit all 4 of these targets. If we are unarmored, we will be able to use the unarmored features such as martial arts to be able to hit all 4 of these guys at least twice. That's if we do not use our bonus action to get in our defensive stance. Now, here's the thing. With Deflect Missiles, you need to have one hand empty in order to catch the missile. With the halberd, you have to have 2 hands on it at all times. So that is where our secondary Monastic Tradition option comes in. Ignoring the extra 20 feet that we can get from Traveler's Blade, we can instead go with the Monastic Tradition Way of the Astral Self. If you have watched my build on General Grievous, you know why this one's a good pick. Arms of the Astral Self give us 2 arms that are able to make attacks. Presumably, you can use these hands to use your Deflect Missile feature. I'm not sure if that is rules as intended, but that would seem likely. Another thing I forgot to mention is your key fueled attack, which lets you do a little bit better job at hitting things. Moving over to level 4 Monk, we're going to grab a feat. Sentinel. Here's the effects of Sentinel. When you hit a creature with an opportunity attack, the creature's speed is reduced to 0 for the rest of the turn. Creatures provoke opportunity attacks even if they take the disengage action before leaving your reach. 3. When a creature within 5 feet of you makes an attack against a target other than you, and the target doesn't have this feat, you can use your reaction to make a melee attack against the attacking creature. Nice. You also get Slow Fall and Quickened Healing, which are pretty good, but they are not completely necessary. We need that Sentinel, and here's why. Those first 2 points. So, 5th level fighter finally gets our extra attack. So, more attacks for us. Good. 6th level, we get another feat. Pole Arm Master. The first one really isn't that important. What is important is that second ability. This improves our opportunity attacks. While you are wielding a glaive, halberd, pike, or quarterstaff, other creatures provoke opportunity attacks from you when they enter the reach you have with that weapon. Let's go over to our mock battle. So, currently have 20-foot reach. If one of these enemies were to move forward into our reach space, we are able to make an opportunity attack against it, which hits it, causing its speed to decrease to 0 for the rest of the turn, so it won't be able to move forward. Secondly, our pushing attack, the maneuver that we got from Battlemaster, will move the target 15 feet backwards. to hear. That is hilarious, in my opinion. Moving on, 5th level monks normally would get extra attack, but we already have it thanks to fighter. We also get stunning strike, which is pretty good. Hit them with an attack, stun them for a turn. This will keep some of the bigger ones at bay while we're picking off the small minions. We also get focused aim, which will give us advantage. Pretty good. Moving on to level 6 monk, we get key empowered strikes. Our unarmed strikes are now magical. And thanks to whichever monastic tradition we pick, we also get another feature. Manifest blow for Way of the Living Weapon. Visage of the Astral Self for if we chose Way of the Astral Self. Which Visage is pretty good as well, as it lets us project our voice more. Has the option of projecting our voice up to 600 feet away. Additionally, we basically get the Devil's Sight Eldritch invocation thanks to this feature. So, pretty good for when we are in the dead of night. Moving on to 7th level, this is the feature that we most wanted from the monk. Evasion. Now, we could have also gotten it from 7th level rogue, but I wanted monk because of the Deflect Missile feature, as well as a few other features that we are able to grab. Monk evasion is really good. Say someone hits you with a fireball. You have the ability to only take half damage from that fireball if you fail the saving throw. If you succeed that saving throw, however, the damage is 0. This is awesome. Honestly, I think this is pretty overpowered, having this setup. Being able to have a high armor class, as well as being able to take no damage from a fireball or anything that requires a dexterity saving throw, is amazing. I was originally going to use the feat known as Shield Master, which gives us the same abilities as Evasion, but with our shield. This is a little bit better because we don't have to waste one of our ability score improvements. Moving on to level 8, we're going to grab one last feat. The Resilient feat. We're increasing our dexterity by 1 point, which is currently a 17. We'll even that out with one of our next ability score improvements. But we also get a proficiency in one saving throw, and that is dexterity, the same feature that we picked to increase by 1 point. Now we have proficiency in dexterity saving throws, so we have a better chance of taking no damage from that ability. Boom! We survive. We are untouchable at this point. The best way to improve this is to have a Cloak of Displacement. That way it is even harder to be hit, because now your opponents have disadvantage when they do try to hit you. Moving on to 7th level fighter. Thanks to our Battle Master, we now have Know Your Enemy, which is not that great of a feature. It's alright for trying to figure out your weak points, but other than that, it's not really that good. Moving on to level 8 fighter, we get an ability score improvement, increased dexterity and wisdom each by 1. This gives us a +4 modifier for dexterity and +2 modifier for wisdom. So if we happen to take off our armor and go for the assault on the offense instead of going for the defense, we now have an armor class of 16. That is without any armor or shields. Moving on to level 9 fighter, we get the Indomitable feature. Level 10 fighter, we get maneuvers, 2 more maneuvers, trip attack, which I think is hilarious. If you hit somebody with an attack, you can have them make a saving throw, and if they fail, they fall prone. Oh, that's amazing. Just being able to troll anyone who is trying to get past you is hilarious. All you need to do is have your healing buddies inside your reach radius, and if they try to go after them, as soon as they get within your reach, you can just smack them. It's hilarious. You also get improved combat superiority, meaning that now you have a higher maneuver dice. Moving on to level 11 fighter, we now get another extra attack. This extra attack does get to stack, unlike with the one from the monk. So now we are able to make a total of 3 attacks per attack action. Hilarious stuff. And finally, level 12 fighter, we're going to go ahead and get that ability score improvement on our strength. This will make our strength at 16, which is a +3 modifier, making it a lot easier to hit anyone who is trying to advance on us. I hope you enjoyed this build, my dear viewers. I sure did. The Tunnel Fighter fighting style is, like I said, one of the most powerful Unearthed Arcana fighting styles I have ever seen. And I wish that they would bring it into official material because of how amazing it is. It's overpowered with the Polearm Master and the Sentinel feats, but those feats were already overpowered to begin with. What's one more? And really the only way you can break it is with the ability to have those dexterity saving throw bonuses similar to the monk or the rogue's evasion, or have the shield master feat, which is a lot of feats already. That's 3 feats. If this was just a flat fighter, yeah, it would be pretty powerful, but you are wasting another potential ability score improvement. And having that pole arm, whether it be a halberd or a glaive, that is still awesome. With the addition of your bugbear's long limbs, you have a good reach and are able to hit a lot of different people. Now, sure, your dungeon master might use this against you in some ways. Having enemies that have similar features would be very cumbersome. But that does not mean that this is still this is a terrible build. It is still a very good build, especially when you take into account some of your other features. If you were to just throw a dart at someone and use your trip attack feature, they're prone, giving your allies a chance to beat up on them with advantage. So yeah, this is great stuff. If we were to go even higher on the fighter, we'd get some more features. If we were to go a little bit higher on monk, we would be able to walk on water and on the walls. Not really necessary. What we really wanted was that evasion from 7th level monk. We just went 8th level because of the ability score improvement. So, with that being said, how did you enjoy this build? I know there is an Unearthed Arcana thing in here, and most Dungeon Masters are not a fan of Unearthed Arcana for their games, and technically you can't use this as part of an official game. What was it called? Adventures League. You can't use this in Adventures League because of the Unearthed Arcana. But I do really hope that Tunnel Fighter does become official material at some point. It's one of my favorite fighting styles, and I would love to see it in action as official material, if given the opportunity by Wizards of the Coast. But with that being said, that's all the time I have for you today, my dear viewers. I do hope that you enjoyed, and I am offline.